Hey, peace world. Thanks for pressing play on another Pay Me No Mind sports and entertainment video. My name is Wood. Um, this is also going up as the final Shogun episode for my It's Always Personal podcast, where you can the audio only version that is available everywhere you find your podcast. At least the big hitters. I'm not a huge fan of the finale. I feel like we were misled in many ways. I'll get to some of it. But I think going back to the original teaser trailers and the trailer, we see men on horses, we see armies, we see the banners, and we see, the armor and the archers and swords. We were, we tuned in expecting some kind of major conclusion, and the show creators and showrunners chose not to do that. And are we good with it? Are we not? I've read a bunch of different. I read a bunch of different articles that on the recaps of the series finale. People should be aware at this point in time there will be no season two. At least probably not from the two co-creators here, Rachel Kondo and Justin something, I think. And as a boxing fan, as a longtime boxing fan, the fact that this finale was delivered and executed the way that it was just like it's par for the course. You just always left holding it. You're just more commonly left holding the bag on the things that you try to get into and support. And if you don't know what I'm referencing for the boxing stuff, you can listen to the last couple of episodes of It's Always Personal where I went more in depth on that. But yeah. And you started coming, I mentioned it episode 5 or 6, like this is not I just got a message. This was not going to be Troy or Braveheart and many of the other you know, classics and epics and all of that type of stuff. It was not going to be that. Uh, so what is it? It's part love story and then part politics and feudal Japan. And okay, um, then it's like this humbling. It's the humbling of an outsider, and then the ascension of a guy who acted like he never wanted to ascend. Uh, but let me ask you this though. For I'll start here. There's a couple of different major schools of thought, in my opinion, on how to approach a finale. You see it in some series where the penultimate episode, whether that's episode 7 or episode 9 in an 8 episode series or 8 show format, 8 episode format, 10 episode format, it would be episode 9. But you have this school of thought that I've seen used a few times here in the last several years, where the big action, the big reveal, the major climax all happens in the penultimate episode. And then in the final episode, it just ties up a bunch of loose ends and then gives you some degree of detail about what happens in the future. What these characters that you've been so enthralled with, for however many hours, you know, let all the final stuff get wrapped up, all the major conversations happen, funerals, the end of affairs or whatever, and then spend 10 to 15 minutes looking ahead. Sometimes they do that with a montage and some music and all of that type of stuff. I really wish I could bring up an episode of a show where they did that. I can't think if it was like Mayor of was it East Town? I know some big stuff happened earlier in that one. Or was it damn, was it not Mayor of Easttown? It was another one. I'm drawing a total blank. But or do you use the 10th episode to be kind of the traditional series finale? Um Here they obviously chose to give us the major payoff or the climax. They chose to do it in the penultimate episode, and then here it was really just highlighted by the resolution between the relationship between Yabashige and Toranaga, and the fact that Yabashige had tried to he tried to play both sides against the middle and tried to save his hide. And by the way, his laughs, his trying to save his neck and bite his tongue, trying to keep score, trying to determine who was the greater force to be with, or the right ally or the right person to align himself with, who to give information to, his squints, his huh, his playing dumb. He was phenomenal. Another thing, before I sat down to get my thoughts together for my reaction to the finale, interestingly, I go to watch 47 Ronin, which might have come out in like 2013 or something. But I was blown away because less than 5 minutes in, I see Hiroyuki Sanada, Toranaga, Tadanobu Asano, Yabashige, and then the female who plays the witch is the like crime editor in Tokyo Vice. And then and then like the Shogun in 47 Ronin is Tokugawa, who Toranaga is based off of. Tokugawa Ayasu. Uh so and then seppuku comes into play, and then it's weird because the finale concludes with Haruyuki Sanada chopping off the head as he seconds Yabashige. And then in 47 Ronin, Hiroyuki Sanada takes care of Tadanobu Asano as the main villain and chops his head off again and takes it out and shows it to everybody to stop the battle between the troops and whatnot. So that was a little weird. Um, and then and then the end of 47 Ronin, even though Hiroyuki Sanada as Oishi, as he leads the 47 Ronin to go correct a major wrong in how in how Asano's character Akira, maybe, he used witchcraft. He used his witch to cast a spell on the Lord of Akko, and that Lord he strikes Asano's character with his sword while he's under a spell, while he was bewitched. And so then Tokugawa gives the kingdom or that land over to Akira, and that leader is ordered to commit seppuku. And then once Sanada's character goes and rights that wrong, And even though they did the right thing, just think by their lord being killed underhandedly, or whatever. Uh, all 47, or the remaining 47 Ronin, all have to perform a mass seppuku, because that's the way it is. So we get to this whole thing, which Mariko told us with her explanation of the eightfold fence. Like, look, we live and we die. All this planning that you doing, this long term stuff, and you becoming a knight or something in England, and putting these trade routes together, and taking down Spain or Portugal, like all this these long term goals, lofty long term goals that you have, we just live and we die. And which is a bit contrary, to her poetry or whatever, her poem, that a flower is only a flower because it falls. And we see the same. I mean, and there's a debate of whether, I just read this article on Forbes, the Forbes writers, entertainment writers recap. Like, did Mariko really want to die, or did she really just need some kind of purpose? And then it just so happened to be that in her dying was this great purpose of completing what Crimson Sky was. Fuji, the Blackthorn's consort and house manager. She's At the end of it, she's told that she can go be a nun by Toranaga. She no longer has to be his consort. And she's like, she wanted a purpose, and she was granted a new purpose. She had that discussion with Nagakato about what her role was, what her purpose was when she was out trying to sharpen up her skills with that weapon and whatnot. So that's a bit of a contradiction here in the show. The other big question that I would ask, like, how comfortable are you with, or how pleased are you with the fact that so many key things happened off screen? And additionally, we weren't giving like any kind of role markers. We weren't given like fall 16-18, winter 16-18, new year, spring 16-19. And I don't know if that's the years, if that coincides with this time and whatnot. But we're not told how long we weren't provided a map to see the distance between Edo and Ajiro, the sea village, and then from Ajiro to Osaka, where Osaka is in proximity to Edo. It's just so much detail that if you don't give us the battle, maybe skipping over some of these major details, these critical details, maybe they're acceptable if we're given the battle, Sekigahara. But without us getting that, without us seeing that, then I'm a little pissed off that some of these different things happen. We didn't see Lady Ochiba give, is it Kiru? We didn't see her give this letter to Toranaga's wife that she gives to Toranaga, letting him know that you've won. I'm going to influence the heir to keep his troops out of the battle, and we're siding with you, and you have won. We didn't see none of that. We didn't see how Saiki got the letter from Toranaga to give to his protest letter or whatever, to give to Ishido. We didn't see how that happened. And the last time them two talked with each other was on horrible terms. But the key thing here in this particular episode that bugs the hell out of me is that when Toranaga addresses Yabashigi, he says you were seen holding the door open for the shinobi to come into my quarters, and you allowed this to happen, which we needed to happen, but you did it and betrayed me. You're a traitor. You're disloyal, and tomorrow at sunset you'll commit seppuku. And I've been mentioning this the whole thing. Like everybody, all of the principal characters and the highborn people, they say whatever around all of these different underlings and the minions and the staff and whatnot. They say whatever they want to. They visit each other. People, characters who shouldn't be talking in public, talk in public. Uh, Ochiba brought in Blackthorn and Mariko Sama in front of 20 dudes when they shouldn't have been talking, and they talk. So, but here it is. He comes back. Yabashigi comes back to Jiro, and Omi immediately takes him into custody, removes his swords from him, and then, like I said, he goes in there and he's like, "We heard this. We heard." Omi first tells him, "We heard you were guilt stricken and you were doing this and you were doing that," which was out of character. Now, the remaining survivors, one of them in the storage room or the storeroom, could have told Omi that. But how did they tell him that before they arrived? So again, it's just these very critical things that are done off screen that I feel like they abused it. They at least abused that storytelling tool or instrument. But then again, Toranaga comes back and says, as Yabashigi is trying to play it off and whatever, no, we know what you did. How? Who? So what else? We live and we die. And so then, oh, we weren't privy to what Mariko, whatever discussion she had with Father Alvido to allow Blackthorn to return to Ajiro unscathed, for him to live. And again, without us reading the book, like he's talked about as the heretic must die. Like what threat is he at this point after he's told Toranaga about the trade routes or how they devalued this or how they weren't being upfront with this? And is his presence somehow going to mess up them converting anybody else to the Catholic faith or whatever? Like I said, why was it so hard to kill this dude? And why is the church, did they feel like he would immediately get back to Ajiro and sell and start disrupting their trade routes or their trade? Was he going to take down the black ship? Was he going to sink it or something? They don't really give us why Mariko makes this deal with Alvito and why he agrees to it and why he keeps his word after her death. So then they get back to Ajiro again. It's just a 5-day cruise in luxury. But they get back and they come around the corner just before or just after Yabashige is like, "Look, man, I can be you. I can be in your role in England if you take me to that country that you're from, and I can be your right hand man. I can be your guy here in Japan." And like Yabashige is like, "I just want to live. all of this shit fell on in my lap, and I'm just trying to make heads or tails of it. I just want to live and work on my poetry, which by the way, I'm at my all-time, I'm in rare form with my poetry. Uh my circumstances have forced me to be that way because I only got so much time left on this world. But he's like, I can be your guy. And Yabashige, Blackthorn says something very modern, like, hey son, pull yourself together, B. Or, pull yourself together, man. And I was like, that was very modern. And get your shit together, bruh. But he was like, pull yourself together, man. But then he goes right up, they go around the corner, and he sees that the Erasmus has been destroyed. It's been set to fire, set ablaze, or whatever. And in that moment, he knows that everything is done for him. Like, he has no more bargaining chips. He can't go and do his. He can't present, or he can't propose what he's been proposing, and he's stuck. He's stuck in his land. And then when him and Fuji were sitting together, once he settled back into his house, and he looks to his right, and he's like, and no translator. The translator is gone. Uh, so then he goes to see Toranaga. So like, Toranaga is sitting here killing people. He's beheaded 3 or 4. We see their heads on the spits as they come back into town, as they arrive, and their grand arrival. Now maybe those were some low life dudes. Maybe those were some dudes that were imprisoned, or servants to somebody, or indentured servants or something, or whatever. Hopefully they weren't upstanding people that they just took and Toranaga killed for this ruse. But different things are going on in the village to everyday people to make this look real. Like there's really some traitors, or there's some real insurrection going on. And Toranaga set this off in motion. And I guess, he had again, we didn't see the communication from Mariko back to him, and him agreeing that he would burn the ship up if the Anjin could be brought back to him. We weren't privy to any of that. But Blackthorn goes to him, and he's like, look, man, I can't get laid no more. I was able to get one of these. I was able to get a very special Japanese woman who happened to be married to a killer. And I still have my head after that. But I'm probably not going to find that same connection. Who else is going to speak English or Portuguese? Who else is going to speak Portuguese, that I can get into and get what get the love and the connection that I had with Mariko. Dude, and he finally accepts, like, what Mariko was trying to teach him, that we live and then we die. And we hopefully in the course of doing so, you find something honorable or redeemable or worthy of dying for, and you give your life to it. And Blackthorn is like, man, I came here trying to manipulate you people, and everything that I've done thus far was to save the skin on my back, or to say protect my head. And I just don't have nothing to. I lost my girl. I no longer have my ship. He had already turned his back on his former crew a couple episodes ago or whatever. So it was just like, man, take me. I'll give you my life. I finally bought into this way of living, or way of dying. This way of living, ready in wait to die. I'll take my life. And Toranaga goes over and intervenes and was like, nah, bruh. You amuse me. You amuse me. I get a kick out of sitting here watching you with your wheels stuck in the mud and spinning and all, all this stuff you trying to do to figure out what moves you can make when you can only make the moves that I allow you to make. Matter of fact, I want you to go out here and rebuild your ship so I can burn it up again in 10 or 15 years or whatever. But I'm going to give you this purpose in building my fleet that I need now that I'm getting ready to really be top dog around here, and be happy with that, man. And go see you can still go check out Kiku or one of the other courtesans in the Willow world. Matter of fact, we got new if you come rock with me up in Edo, we got a whole new franchise opening up there. And these Edo women, once they get into the profession, you might stick around. Stick around. Just rock with me. I take care of you. So that gives him new purpose. Rebuild your ship that I haven't told you. You may not put it together, two and two together, that I burnt the shit up. But I am, since I have sacrificed all of these different key figures, Hiramatsu, Nagakado, Mariko, and I did get through to Ochiba to do what I needed her to do. I won. I controlled the wind to my will. I controlled fate. So rock with me. What else we got here? I'm struggling with this. So then we have again. So I guess at the same time, maybe a little bit before that, we go back to Osaka and see the collapse of Ishido's influence. They don't like what happened with Lady Mariko going out the way that she did. Osaka is not as safe as it should be, or as we've been led for it to believe. We clearly understand now that we have been hostages. We have been forcefully kept from returning to our native lands, and our family members and whatnot have been kept here against their will. We kind of don't really rock with you anymore, Ishido. And then Ishido is just trying to move beyond. And it's funny. Again, I don't get the sense that we really understand why in a society where women are clearly second class, lower class, now is such a big deal that Mariko, she was a Keshi or whatever. She was from that fucked up family that we don't really care for, or that clan or whatever. And then Ochiba again speaks up and shuts everything down. Now we won't only think about it and consider it, given a proper period of mourning. We will generously extend the proper handling and give the proper consideration to the fall of my girlfriend. I know we went back and forth and we didn't understand each other, and her, the person that she's loyal to, has, like, how did she just get over that? How did she just get over the fact that she really firmly believed that Toranaga and his whispering and his influence led to the death of her father? But now the death of my father, the choice of getting over the death of my father and who killed my father and dealing with the Council of Regents, I'm gonna go tell my son to what to do with the army, and I'm moving on from this bunch right here. I just don't feel like we really got the connection through everything to understand that. That's a major change of course to a person that you just became engaged to in Ishido. Ochiba just got engaged to Ishido in the last episode. And now here it is. She watches this, how this has been handled. Nobody, again, we don't see what discussions were held to connect Ishido to what happened. I guess it's like, well, he's the most powerful dude here. Nobody really said anything about Fujiyama. Was it the house of Fujiyama, him and his people that they slaughtered out in the woods? Nobody really said anything about that. And who was to blame for that? They just put it on bandits. Here, Ochiba reads the whole situation instantly and says that and believes that Ishido has something to do with her friend's death. So it's just, and I get it. How much time can you put into everything, and how many details, how many critical details can you properly set up and reveal and show the weight of this? And I get it. I get it. But again, without the battle of Sekigahara, and I'm sitting here like, well, did they make a decision because they didn't want to show such a bad side of Japan and such a bad period of time? Because that's when the real, according to, I listened to the official podcast for the show and the finale episode, and I guess what we don't get to see is that when in here they just, as Yabashige and Toranaga gives him the final during Yabashige's seppuku. Toranaga tells him, he reveals certain things to him. Yeah, I burnt the ship up. I burnt the Erasmus down. Yeah, I sent a woman to Osaka to do what no army could possibly do. Yeah, I did all that. And nah, Blackthorn is never leaving Japan. Nah, he's not. And then he's like, but well, what? And Yabashige for a minute was like, man, it would have been nice to see this. Man, I really would have liked to see that tea house, the completion of that tea house, man. I even wouldn't mind seeing the church. Like, he thought for a glimpse of a second he could talk about all the things after playing on all the things they have been through. Like, man, you should really, my man, you should really strongly consider letting me see all of this stuff come to fruition. Because I did come through for you, and no. And it was like, he says, why should I tell a dead man the future? And it was wild how he pulled the sword out and got up off his little stool and walked around and was like, hey, bro, the sun is set, bro. Like, take that shirt off and slit that belly for me, bro. Reach for the sky. And then went, came over to the side of him and chopped his head off. But before he did all that, all we saw was the armies gathered, and then the two lords coming out to the middle, and then that's the big reveal to Ishido that Ochiba and the army of the air will not show up. Well, according to the official podcast and the book, when they do go to meet, it's a bunch of feuding between the Council of Regents, and they're not really ready to work together, and all of the stuff all of the confusion and the chaos and the manipulation that Toranaga did, it all comes to a head as the Sekigahara battle or war is getting ready to happen. And then Ishido finds out that the army of the air won't be showing up in support, and things go awry. And supposedly supposedly the difference in the forces is like 125,000 men for Ishido and the others, and only 75,000 troops, samurai for Toranaga. So it was a significant difference, in the size of the armies and whatnot. And again, the rivalry and the confusion and the mistrust, the distrust, and the fractured relationships of the Council of Regents, it all comes into play during the Battle of Sekihara. Um, but we don't get to see that. We don't get to see that. One last detail. Sometimes it's good when you watch things a couple of times, or maybe when you listen to another podcast or two, or you read a couple of articles, and you're sitting here because you get a little frustrated or you get ahead of yourself or whatever, and you say, "Well, how in the hell is my man at the beginning of the episode when he's an older man in bed? How the hell does he have the cross that he got from Lady Mariko, when he went out into the water with Fuji and she dumped the remains of her son and husband, and then he let go of the cross into the water? They messed up. I'm ready to let somebody know they messed up. Looking to the title of the episode, "A Dream of a Dream," this is kind of part of the transformation for Blackthorn to really just, he's now of those people. He's now of that society. But he was dreaming, that was him dreaming that he did return back to England. He did have his ship and he went on to achieve all his political or commerce goals. And he someday went back to England. You hear the children are speaking with English accents or whatever. And that's if things went that way. And if things had gone that way, he wouldn't have thrown the cross into the. So that's just that was a dream of what could come about, what could come to be. Uh, as we see how things actually do play out, no, he's not going to return. As Toranaga told Yabashige, "Nah, I never let that dude." Um, and he did speak on, Anjin can just be used to be a distraction. He makes me laugh, and I can keep dangling him out there in front of the Jesuits and the Council of Regents. Although Ashido was like, "Man, once we square this up and vote on this and whatever y'all do with that dude, that barbarian, I have that's of none of my interest. Like, I'm done with him. We trying to get the troops together to go get the main problem in Toranaga. I'm done with him." Um, I really wish I could have figured out what the finale was that I wanted to mention, where they did not. They did a lot in episode in the next to the last episode, or the penultimate episode. No, yeah. I want to say that Ozark was kind of like that. Oh, The Undoing. The Undoing was one of those shows where pretty much everything was revealed in, there might have been only 8 episodes, so it might have been 7, with Hugh Grant and the redhead, Nicole Kidman, that was on HBO 2 or 3 years ago. But it looked like Hugh Grant as the husband, and his girlfriend got killed. And immediately into the finale, when we were trying to see how this trial could be swung over in favor of Hugh Grant, who said he didn't do it. He said he didn't do it. And then immediately into the final episode, the finale, 2 or 3 minutes into it, he just kind of comes clean, and then he goes and gets in a car or something and is driving around while they chase him down. They try to chase him down. And it's just all about resolving why he did it. But so like I said, it's two schools of thought. You either save the Big Bang, you use all your powder in the 10th in the finale, or you use all your powder in the penultimate episode, and then you just use the finale as a cleanup tool, tie up all the loose ends, stuff like that, and then share what the future. Um, so again, here, like I said, there are other books out there. Clavel had about 6 books in this saga of like Asian uh novels that he wrote. So there's plenty of stories out there, and some of them are kind of loosely tied to Shogun. Uh, so it's more source material out there, but I think they should just walk away from it. Like if somebody else, if another team wants to put it together, and it took them 5 years. It took Kondo and Justin, whatever his name is, something with an R. It took them 4 or 5 years to Justin Render? Justin Marks. It took them 5 years to get this, and then I think it took another 5 years for Justin Marks and Rachel Kondo. It took them 5 years to like write it and research it and write it and get it together. And then it took Fox or FX another 5 years, I believe, to get it to the screen. So I would be very weary of now, well, just because it's hot, just because it did well. Especially like next year. Couldn't be next year. And then if you get 2 years out, 3 years out from the original, from the original property or the original title or whatever, then it's just let it be. Like my man who did the Nightmen, the Watchmen, he only wanted to do one season and was like, I just want to do one season and I want to nail it, and then I don't have no plans for a second season, and I don't care what the fan response is and how well it's received. I'm only signing up for one season. It's okay to do that. It's okay. It just makes everybody else step their game up. It should make everybody else feel comfortable with going for the scale that they did achieve. They didn't give us this battle, but you can cover some different topics. You can cover some other civilizations or societies or whatever. We don't mind reading subtitles. It doesn't have to be based in North America. Some of us were already reading a bunch of subtitles with the Narcos installments and seasons and whatnot. So, again, the success of this should give creators confidence to pursue other stories and go find those stories and start telling those. We live and we die. I would imagine, I would love no comments so far, very few likes, probably, no views beyond a minute or two or 30 seconds or whatever. Thank you. I appreciate it. Appreciate you sliding through for a minute. But I mean, I definitely would love to hear anybody else's opinion who's been a big fan of the show and who've tuned in the last 10 weeks. And, whether or not were you pleased. Like I said, as a boxing fan, what happened was to be expected, honestly. But again, 3 months ago, or the Super Bowl, when I saw the trailer, and I saw, like I said, I saw the troops, the warriors and the samurai and the flags and the archers and the swords and the armies. I thought we was gonna really get down to it. But they did what they did. They told a bit of a love story. Now, I do want to throw this in there. For all of Toranaga's moves and maneuvering, and what's more important, Japan or our bloodline or our clan, and Japan, uh, and who he sacrificed along the way, Hiramatsu, Mariko, uh, after he became shogun, after he took over, and he bragged to Yabashige like, I accomplished all of this without any battle, without any war, without any swords getting wet. On a grand, in a a formal or proper battle. Some little skirmishes here and there, but no 10,000 or more troops versus, none of that type of stuff. But he accomplished all of this without any arrows flying, and troops being, armies being away from their families and all of that. After he was in full power, and power shifted away from Osaka to Edo, which becomes current day Tokyo. Once he did become the man, shogun, it was the lengthiest period of peace in that region. So at the end of the day, I guess it was really worth those who gave their life, those flowers that were willing to fall for his cause. So with that said, that's it. Uh, I'm knee deep. I think I just started season 4 of Suits. Much different show. I'm really enjoying. Very smart show. A lot of solid and above. A lot of excellent performances. But 9 seasons is a lot. A lot. But I'm in season. I'm just in episode 1 or 2 of season 4. It wouldn't make any sense for me to do any recaps or reactions to that series, but it will be interesting now that it's been greenlit to be brought back to some iteration. How does it look? So that's it, man. Let me get on out of here. Remember, you don't have to start. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Peace.